outside the immigration detention hotel where he spent the night. It's unclear whether the tennis star is going to remain here until Monday, but this is a story that has now divided the country. Novak Djokovic is waiting for a court decision on whether he'll be able to stay and compete in the Australian Open or be deported. Whatever happens, this has gone way beyond tennis. The world number one now finds himself in the middle of a political and a diplomatic row. Yesterday, Djokovic's mother, Diana, said her son was being kept like a prisoner. But the Australian Home Affairs Minister, Karen Andrews, said there was nothing stopping the tennis star from leaving the country.
Mr. Djokovic is not being held captive in Australia. He is free to leave at any time that he chooses to do so, and Border Force will actually facilitate that.
Novak Djokovic has previously made clear his opposition to getting the vaccine. He came to the country with an exemption granted by Tennis Australia and the state of Victoria. The federal government says his visa application has not met the rules of entry and that no one was above the rules, a point Scott Morrison and his government have been hammering home since the controversy began. Politicians wanted to prove that they can control who comes in and out of the country, but in doing so, they lost control of the narrative. It's an embarrassing situation for Australia, whichever way you look at it. Shaima Khalil, BBC News, Melbourne.
Good PM din sa'yo, Madam Sunkis.
Yeah. More polarised, I think.
Live ka na po.
And it's not about anti-vax, pro-vaccine.
No.
Musta po?
Do you support Novak Djokovic? Do you support what the Australian authorities are doing? And they themselves are divided.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We've seen between the federal
And the state.
the state government. And we've heard overnight from his mum saying that he's trying to sleep, but his brother says on social media that he's stressed and tired, understandably. You can only imagine what he's going through. What is the Orthodox Christian Christmas Day as well? Which is why there's been the extra support outside.
And we get a decision from the court on Monday.
Monday, that's when the
Musta,
hearing
musta
starts.
po
A week later,
kayo?
a week on Monday, the
Yeah.
Open is due to begin.
Yeah, we heard from certainly a journalist earlier on that physically is the big problem, whether he's had enough time to warm up. Mentally, apparently he'll be able to handle all the hostility. Anyway, we're going up the road in Australia because England were holding out for a hero.
Eto, kilang din po.
Look at that image. You see what it means to Johnny Bairstow, and that's despite getting a knock on the finger earlier in the day from Pat Cummins, a delivery.
Kauwi lang din, galing trabaho.
Fought through that pain to get a century. At last, England's cricketers are starting to celebrate.
Wala po ba kayong trabaho ngayon, madam?
Johnny Bairstow dug in the face of adversity and really turned around England's reply in this fourth test in Sydney. He will resume tomorrow on 103, while he may run out of partners, and it might not be enough to save the test, but England 258 for 7, so still 158 runs behind. It has certainly given the team and the fans...
Oh, ilan na ang positive dyan? Sa Pinas? Kasi dito is 27 na. 2,700.
Australians have spent weeks mopping up after all. Hasiba Mead beaten by Mitchell Starc.
Ang bilis kumalat.
Sydney was in pink to support the Jane McGrath Cancer Foundation, late wife of the great Glenn, who used to regularly do this to Englishmen.
Ang bilis kumalat yung sakit na yan.
Zach Crawley was Scott Boland playing in his second test, having waited his whole career for these moments. Joe Root, England's captain, his 9th test wicket already. England's sad procession trudged on, surrounded, surrendering. 3 wickets for no runs, 36 for 4 by lunch. Afterwards, it got surreal. Ben Stokes was given out leg before wicket. It turned out there was no leg and plenty of wicket. Bale's still on, Stokes still in. But he was facing the pace with pain.
Naka-polyvaccine na po ba kayo, madam?
Kept him from bowling, but not batting, battling. Johnny Bairstow went with him, both swatted 50s.
Oo, ingat lang talaga.
And here was the
Kasi malapit na makakapitan ng sakit. Mahirap na makakapitan ng sakit. Tapos palabas pa naman kami dito sa Douglas papuntang London. Ngayon 28. Kasi magre-renew ng passport. Dahil mag-ina.
It might still be too little to save the match, but at long last, England have something to celebrate. Patrick Geary, BBC News.
Yeah, they can sleep happier tonight, can't they? Now, in the last hour, one of the story for you, Newcastle have confirmed their
Mahirap na ma-quarantine doon sa London kasi wala pera.
He's played for Eddie Howe, that is before Burnley, and says he's excited to join the club. Newcastle fans will be hoping he's the first of many coming in to help them in their fight against the Premier League. Trippier.
Kasi kami, tapos na kami dito, naka-fully vaccine na kami, tapos nag-start naman sila sa pambata, 12 years old, vaccine.
Thanks, Mike. See you soon. Brief look at the headlines where you are. We'll be back after that.
Hello, there are any calls today for a so-called Hillsborough law.
And nandito sa Douglas, wala ako sa mismong London, pero sabi ng asawa ko, itong itong place na to, part of London daw, UK din daw to.
The judicial system. Some NHS staff on the phone are refusing to get a COVID vaccine despite facing possible dismissal from their jobs. It's expected all frontline staff will be required by law to have a vaccine from April. But it was revealed at a board meeting that 5% of workers at Blackpool Teaching Hospital are still unjabbed. That's around 400 people, including 95 nursing staff. A petition to say the 200-year-old bridge in Preston has been presented to the city's council.
Opo.
The Trambridge spans the River Ribble, connecting Avon Park and the city to South Ribble. It closed in 2019 due to structural problems and fears it could collapse. More than 3,000 people have signed a petition calling on the council to bid for government funding for repairs or for a new bridge. TransPennine Express is to run a reduced rail timetable from Monday due to staff shortages by COVID. The firm says the changes will provide a greater level of certainty for customers. The weather this morning, snow showers and a risk of ice causing problems on the roads this morning with highs of 5 Celsius. That's it from me for this morning. I'm back with our lunchtime news here on BBC One at 1:30. In the meantime, stay up to date with us online and have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Welcome back. We are going to talk now about the brown booby.
No sting, stingray.
The brown booby is a seabird which is native to tropical oceans around the world.
It is usually
Ah.
outside the Atlantic, around the Caribbean.
Wala pa ako dito nun, kasi 2016 nandito. 2017 pa lang ako kasi dumating dito.
Let's talk to Trevor Wood.
Tapos 2014 ka nandito. Hindi tayo nag-aabot.
Trevor, hello. Morning to you. Is that the brown booby behind you?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's his name?
We haven't actually named him yet. We get thousands of birds here every year, so it's very difficult for us to name them, unfortunately, but we're open to suggestions.
Well, I mean, he's getting attention on national television. I think he'll deserve it. Tell me.
Asawa po ba puti, madam?
Like his beak is silver. It's probably like, tell me about what a brown booby's personality is like, because he seems quite calm.
Yeah, he's a lovely bird. We think it's a he, but because it's a juvenile, it's very difficult to tell the difference between the males and females. This one has got a really lovely demeanour. It's not sort of aggressive in any way.
Taga Dumaguete po, madam,
he's actually
Bisaya
a
ako.
really good patient, which is helpful because of how we need to be and the treatment we need to give him.
What is that treatment? What are you doing?
Well, he came in at 760 grams, which is just over half of his natural body
Ganun
weight.
po.
They should
Baka
be
ko
sort of
nakapag-asawa po kayo ng
1 to
puti.
1.8 kilos. Being a juvenile, he's on the lower end of that scale. But it's we need to basically build up his body weight slowly and gradually, because too much too quickly can be bad for him.
I have to ask, and
Mga Bisaya ka po pala. Same tayo, Bisaya, Cebuana.
To be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea. This is the second one we've ever dealt with, so they are very, very unusual.
So when it came to rescuing him, talk us through what happened, how you were alerted to the fact that he needed rescuing. Because most people wouldn't know when a bird needs rescuing, unless obviously they're trapped in nets and things like that. But you wouldn't know from their weight or anything like that.
Yeah, well, he was found on a beach in Hove in Sussex, right up at the very top of the beach, which for a seabird is quite unusual. The members of the public were able to get right up close, almost within touching distance before he moved. So that automatically suggested that there was a problem. We contacted our colleagues in Brighton and Hove Wildlife Rescue and Advice Service. They went out there and picked him up and brought him over to us at our hospital at Lewis in Sussex. So we've had him since Sunday. He's been a very, very good patient. He's slowly starting to put on weight now, but fingers crossed, he's not out of the woods yet, not by any means. But we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can save him.
Where would he normally be, Trevor? Where would he be expected to be found?
Well, from what I understand, they cover a pan-tropical range. So anywhere from like California, Gulf of Mexico, west coast of Africa, sometimes up into the Mediterranean, and also places like the Red Sea and across to Indonesia, northern Australian coast. So quite a large range. They're certainly the most common of the booby species. Certainly not around the UK coastline.
So what happens, let's say, I know he's not out of the woods yet, but and we'll call him he, because as you said, not quite sure because he's a juvenile. Let's say he does recover absolutely brilliantly. What happens to him?
It's likely we'll have to fly him back to a region where, they are regularly seen, whether that's over to somewhere like somewhere like California or down to Costa Rica or somewhere like that. We don't know at this stage. That's something we're still having to work on. But yeah, we definitely would need to get him back to his home range.
A one-way ticket to what I'll take him.
Yeah, we're quite happy to do that journey.
I bet you'd be happy to take him as well, wouldn't you, Trevor?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Trevor, it's been great talking to you. He's been very standoffish. I think if you give him a name, how about Bobby? Bobby the Brown Booby.
Yeah, that's already been suggested to us, so perhaps we'll have to go with that.
I think it's a great name. Trevor, listen, thank you to you and to all the team, your team as well, for looking after, let's call him Bobby for now. And I hope he does well. Please keep us up to date as well. Do look after yourself.
He did respond then,
He
actually.
He did respond to Bobby.
When he said Bobby, he looked round for about the first time in 3 minutes. Thanks, Trevor.
That's all from us, from Trevor, from Bobby the Booby, the Brown Booby, and John as well.
Am I the bottom of the pecking order?
You know it.
Time for Morning Live.
Bye-bye.
Those two are okay today, I'm not sure. Coming up on Morning Live today, it's being sent to millions of people right now. And although this may look like an NHS text offering you a COVID pass, Rab explains how to spot it's a scam.
Plus, we find out the tricks to saving some extra cash this new year, including why some people could even get paid to save.
And former EastEnders star Maisie Smith tells us about returning to the ballroom for the Strictly Talk.
Hello and welcome to Friday's Morning Live. Well, Gaff, we got there. We finally got there. It's the end of the first week back. But I don't know about you because of the bank holidays, Christmas, New Year. I've just lost track of what day it is. But we are at Friday.
Luckily, two people that did get the memo is Rav and our finance expert owner. Lovely to see you both. Morning.
Morning.
People are confused this week. Reading about a lady this morning who had loaded her food shop into what she thought was the boot of her car. She then took the trolley back and drove home. When she got home, there was no food in the boot. She parked next to a car that was exactly the same model, make and colour as hers. So here you go, Rav. Modern technology not helping her.
No, because on this occasion, this lady had a keyless entry car, so she didn't actually physically need to use a key or press any buttons to open the door.
The boot was open. She just thought, I'd just pile my shop in
Exactly
it.
that. She
Wasn't
put
it
it in there, but I'm pleased to say a very, very honest person did get home and find all her shopping in the boot of their car. I know I shouldn't laugh because they were very honest and they brought it straight back to the shop. So
No
nice
crime was
start to the
committed.
new year. No crime.
I know you've got some great finance saving tips later on the show, but I'm sure one of them's not sit in the car park on Saturday and wait for someone to load their shop into your car.
I mean, it's one way to save money, but I'm not going to recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get any ideas. But we've got lots coming up on the show today. As snow and ice hits part of the UK this week, Dr. Poonam tells us how the cold weather can trigger headaches and why taking medication might not always be the best way to get rid of them. That's in about 10 minutes' time.
Had a bit of snow in Glasgow this morning where Dr. Poonam is. Plus, as we mentioned yesterday, the 1921 census is released to the public for the very first time. It gives people a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to piece together their past. In a quarter of an hour, I delve deep into the archives to uncover my own family history and make some surprising discoveries.
Also coming up, he was one of the world's biggest rock stars, but only a select few knew the real David Bowie. Ahead of what would have been his 75th birthday tomorrow, we take a personal look into his life captured by a man.
Hello, Sir
And we'll
F1.
be working out a bit of Bowie at the end of the
Live
show.
ka na,
It's
tutok mo sa
Nadia, we'll be
kapitbahay
putting all
mo.
the moves we've learned this week together.
CR ng kapitbahay mo po.
Over the weekend. Just going through them now. Yeah, we've got the lobster, we've got the pony, we've got the flamingo flicks.
Wow.
They'll all be happening today. But before that, we're going to this big gorilla. I can help myself. Round first one of the year then, 2022. What is... Thanks, yeah, it's a nice one. What is the warning of the week?
First warning of the week is tax scams today. Lots of people are receiving this. Now, it can be either an unsolicited text message, or email, or even phone calls. And the one we're going to concentrate on today is a tax rebate scam that we're seeing, unfortunately, quite a bit of. Now, millions of self-employed people are going to be doing a tax return, so lots of people will be liaising with HMRC and expecting...
Sino mga alagad mo?
And that's often what scammers do.
Okay.
Sako na
There's two
natin
ways we're gonna see at
yan.
the moment. We're going to see a text at the moment. Let's have a look at this text. This is a typical one that people might see in their inbox, claiming to be from HMRC and saying what people need to do and follow a link to pay some money. On this one,
Lagay natin sa sako yung mga alagad mo.
to someone as a rebate, and obviously people want to receive money, so they think, oh, I'll
You
click
see
on the
that,
link
you think,
and
yeah,
follow that.
brilliant.
And we've got an email as well. This is another version of a scam here, where again claiming to represent the HMRC using the NHS there as well as another hook to make people think they can believe this, and a link that they can click on there, which is what scammers want you to do, and I certainly don't.
Yeah. So don't click on that email.
Yes, because if you do click on the email, which is of course what scammers want you to do, all sorts of horrible things can happen. You'll be taken to a fake website ordinarily. Now, we were going to show you this on air, but just before we went on air, it was actually taken down, which is a good thing, but there are others out there, so I still want the viewers to be really mindful of this. You'll be taken to another website where you'll typically be given a big form to fill in all your personal details, your name, your address, your date of birth, your banking details. And these are all the information that the scammers want from you to commit fraud or pass it on to other people so they can commit further fraud. So really, really be careful about these links that drop in from emails or text messages, just like we've seen there.
And all the while you think you're getting some money back